Emanuel in 2014. Emanuel said the Cadillac tax would go after a little-known tax break millions of Americans get on their work insurance.
It is the single biggest tax break in the American tax code. It's worth $250 billion. To compare, for those of you who want to keep track, the mortgage deduction, sacrosanct, $70 billion.
And it took me some time to figure it out, but I realized that they were going after that tax break and not that people are going to lose their tax break without knowing they were losing their tax break. It's incredible.
Weinstein learned that since World War II, Americans' health insurance benefits from work haven't been taxed as income. The Obamacare Cadillac tax will change that. It slaps a 40% tax on work-provided insurance policies valued above $10,200 for an individual or $27,500 for a family. For example, say your individual plan costs $15,200. You'll pay 40% of the amount over $10,200. That's 40% of $5,000, which means an extra $2,000 to the IRS at the end of the year. In another video Weinstein found, Emanuel describes how he had to convince President Obama and his political team to support the tax.
The other side, inside the White House, the other part of the health team, and especially the political team, which David Axelrod headed up, hated this idea.
One reason they hated it, Emanuel explains, is because in 2008, Obama's Republican opponent, John McCain, proposed eliminating the tax benefit, in effect imposing a giant new tax, and at that time, Obama was against it.
John McCain calls these plans Cadillac plans. Now, in some cases, it may be that a corporate CEO is getting too good a deal. But what if you're a line worker making a good American car like the Cadillac? What if you're one of the steel workers who are working right here in Newport News? And you've given up wage increases in exchange for better health care. Well, Senator McCain believes you should pay higher taxes too. The bottom line, the better your health care plan, the harder you fought for your good benefits, the higher the taxes you'll pay under John McCain's plan.
But now, under Obamacare, he'd be imposing exactly what he criticized McCain for proposing, a massive tax hike on American workers' health insurance. Emanuel would later reveal how it took some convincing to get the president to go along.
The president campaigned against John McCain, who wanted to get rid of the tax exclusion entirely, with over $100 million worth of ads saying, you know, the Republicans are going to tax your health benefits for the first time ever. And this wasn't an effort. The president was going to go back on his word.
They wanted to get at your tax break, and they couldn't do it overtly because Senator Obama in 2008 spent $100 million destroying John McCain.
Emanuel goes on to say in the video that he helped convince President Obama to impose the Cadillac tax on American workers with the idea that it would reduce health care costs. But how to convince the public to accept a huge new tax? Gruber says they decided to use wordplay. The public would be told it was a tax on insurance plans rather than consumers.
Calling it a tax on insurance plans rather than a tax on people, and we all know it's really a tax on people who hold those insurance plans.
We said, well, that's pretty much the same thing. Why does it matter? I said, you'll see. And they're both in a net pass. Because America is too stupid to understand the difference.
We just tax the insurance companies. They pass it on higher prices. That offsets the tax break we get. It ends up being the same thing.
They were going to be able to tax the American public, but not call it a tax on the American public.
Well, they were going to tax the American public without the American public knowing it was a tax on the American public because they were going to put the tax on the insurance plan, which would then be passed through to the American public through premium increases.
After some of Weinstein's stunning video discoveries were reported on the news in 2014, Gruber apologized and called his remarks inexcusably arrogant.
In excerpts of these videos, I'm shown making a series of glib, thoughtless, and sometimes downright insulting comments. I know better, I'm embarrassed, and I'm sorry.
Both Gruber and Emanuel declined comment for this report. President Obama has said he does not agree with Gruber's assessment of the American public's intellect and that the former advisor's views do not reflect the process. The White House wouldn't offer further comment.